drop out, get your GED, and go to work.
Welcome to the Jered Williams Show.
Jered, hey man, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Joel? You
Caught
caught
you
me off
mid-read.
guard.
I know I did. I'm good at that. It's my
I don't like this.
my superpower.
You got so many superpowers.
Yeah, but you only need like one, right? I was talking to this guy and he brought up this really good point. He kind of views like that. You know, people have like 5 powers, right? And I'm gonna see if I can remember them. Like one of them would be like wealth, like your mental ability, your strength, and then maybe like emotional intelligence. I can't remember the other one, but the idea is like these are like 5 skills that if you can just put time into these skills, you can become really, really formidable. And that is an interesting thought to me because it can kind of put you in this direction of like, oh, why do I work out? Because like for me, it's like the motivation to work out isn't huge because I'm not overweight or anything. But if I can just think of it as a skill that will make me more formidable, to me, that's an attractive reason to do it. Because then suddenly I'm like, oh, I can become more formidable just by working out. Okay.
Dude, what do you mean by more formidable?
I guess just more competitive. Like you can become more competitive in the
What?
field of life. Because like think about it. Like if you have like a very strong, very smart, very attractive person who's wealthy, that person can do whatever they want, literally.
True.
Like they have all those things. Now, if you don't have one of those traits, then you can do less. But if you can gain those traits, then good. Like if you are not attractive, but you are strong and you are wealthy and you are intelligent, you're going to do fine.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like there's almost this like duty, like, okay, well, if you have like one of these skills, like typically people have like one just right out the bat, right? Oh, you're super smart. Oh, you're super attractive, whatever. But you can grab these other skills and you can start pouring into them. And then you can just sort of stack these ideas. Don't laugh at me, Jered. And you can like, you can stack these strengths and then or practice them and work them. And I don't know, just become more competitive in the business environment or whatever environment you're going in.
I think you just like, I think you're totally right. I think you become probably more competitive in all of life
Yeah,
at that
100%.
point. And
Yeah,
the crazy part is all of us can reach like all the skills you just listed. The only one that maybe we can't reach 100% because of how we were born is how attractive we are.
yep. But
Like
I
we can
think
do
you
a
can
lot. We can do a lot for it, right?
yeah,
Some people
yeah,
are just ugly.
yeah, and I think though
Like,
that's like the lowest tier one though, because like
oh, totally.
if you're ugly but you are strong and you are fit and you're emotionally intelligent and you are well read and all these things, like dude, you'll be fine.
Even if
Like
you're ugly, like you got to be really ugly to not be able to present yourself well, right?
yeah,
Like you just throw on some nice clothes, cut your hair, maybe go tan, shave
and
your beard
you would have to have like
and look
this.
nice.
You have to have like a self awareness of where it's like with any weakness, right? Like I'm weak at this, but if I try to work around it and I try not work around it, but work through the weakness, like, man, I'm so ugly. I'm not confident. Okay, well, let's work on that whole. There's an issue with me right there. I'm so
Right.
ugly. I'm not confident. Okay, there's a mindset thing I got to change here. Let's not
Right.
think about how ugly I am and how it relates to my confidence. Let my confidence come from something else.
Yep.
And then let that carry you. And eventually you being ugly won't be a thing anymore, or to be less of a thing, and it won't hold you back like it did. You can walk
Right.
into a room and know that your confidence comes from, I don't know, I did a bunch of push-ups all the time, so I'm like super jacked. So my confidence comes from that or whatever. So,
Yep.
but those things that we can work at. And I think maybe if we're talking about speaking to somebody in their 20s or 30s
Right.
who are coming into life, they don't really know what they're doing. Maybe
Yep.
they're just a barista or they're working at a bar or whatever. Maybe they're going to college. Like, if nothing else, spend time in one of those skills, the one that doesn't come naturally, and then make it one of your superpowers. Because if you can really start to stack those skills, you just become more formidable within the world of life. And I think things will just, they could come easier depending on the things, but I think it's a good waste, or not a good waste of your time. It's a good use of your time.
Yeah, I agree. I wish at a young age, like when I was in my 20s, if I could have thought that way, like learning new skills and stacking skills that make me more valuable, I would have been much
Yeah.
better off.
Yeah.
Because I didn't start doing that until I was in my 30s. late 30s. And then I started like, oh, okay, I have the skill of being a plumber. Now, if I stack the skill of, I don't know, I don't know what I did after that, becoming a business owner, right? Okay,
Right.
now I have a business. Now I need to stack some skills on top of that to be a good business owner. And then it was like,
Right.
okay, I'm going to stack some more skills on that so that I can be a business owner that isn't involved in his business every day,
Right. Right.
or more skills so that I can go start this other business. And then you just start learning all sorts of stuff. It's cool. It's actually fun that way.
Yeah, and I think like even before you get to like those, what would we call those? Those are all what we're talking about are all like hard skills, right? Even before you get there, like if you don't know, again, you're 20s and 30s, you don't really know your direction.
Yep.
You can go and like get strong. You
Oh
can
yeah.
go and
Oh
like
yeah.
push yourself to learn things. Just read books about history, if nothing
Yeah.
else, to gain a context. You don't know if
Yeah.
you want to be a business owner or whatever, but like there isn't enough emphasis in society to be like, "Hey, you seem lost, person in their 20s and 30s. Why
Yeah.
don't you just work on these couple things? Why don't you
Yeah.
just go to the gym consistently and read more books?" And like
Yeah.
people say that, but nobody like in authority is really like pushing that, because then you're not wasting your time, so that when you do find out what you want to do, you then have these skills that just elevate your presence when you move into whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah. I think everybody should go do hard stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
stuff that's hard. Because I think it builds character, builds persistence, and I think it's needed in our younger generation. Because a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
like
people, they don't like they'll have an opportunity in front of them, but it'll be slightly hard to go do it, or they'll have to do one portion of it that'll be really hard, and so
mhm,
they just won't go do it. And I think if they could go do things like I think about, I started running the 100-mile races. They were really hard, but it built this like understanding of hard stuff in my brain. Like if
right,
you can just go do it and keep doing it, then eventually you're done with it, right?
right,
And it's not as bad as you thought.
right.
Um like for me, I like a normal person, if you tell them somebody ran 100 miles and they haven't done that, right? They're like, "Holy crap, that's insane. I don't I will never do that. There's no
Mhm,
way, it's impossible," right?
mhm.
But you go talk to somebody that's done it and they're like, "Anybody could do it. It really wasn't that bad," right?
Sure,
So
sure.
by doing it, they went from the mindset of, "This is impossible. I'll never do that," to, "Oh, I did it. It wasn't that bad. Anybody could do it
Right,
just by doing it," right?
right.
So I think kids are scared to do hard stuff. And if they could just force themselves to do hard things, even if they don't know, like, even if it involves something that maybe won't get them anywhere, like running a 100-mile race,
Mhm.
like just doing the hard thing and learning that lesson will be super valuable because then you're going to be willing to go do hard stuff in life. Right.
I know what sort of like influenced me in that way, which I think is a very practical thing, is like that my previous boss, he expected production at work would be 100%.
Uh huh.
And so he would set this model of 100% production. And I've talked to people about this, and people will be like, "Yeah, but like, what about like this and time to eat and all this kind of stuff?" And I'm like, I understand that. But for a benchmark for you and doing a hard thing, to me, it was attractive to be like, can I actually work 100% of my 8 hour, 10-hour shift? Like, can I get to work and stay busy the entire time and never stop? And what it did is, what I noticed is like chasing that goal, I would feel myself at like 60% efficiency, and then 70%, and then 80%. And it became just a pattern of repetition. And I would just develop, I think is what David Goggins talks about, mental calluses, where
Yeah.
you sort of just like, you become tougher in your brain, because working 100% of your shift is just avoiding the temptation not to work. Physically, it's not so bad. Depending on your job, like my job was pretty physical, but I could do it. It was just like, I'm tired. I want to sit down with the boys, but I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to work. And so it's like,
Right.
I like to challenge like young people in the workspace, like just try it for your own sake, so that you know that you can hold this confidence that you are a producer, so that when you go to your next place of work, you can look at that person in the eye and be like, dude, I'm a producer. Like, I will work all of my shift, and that is my intent, because I am here to just fill time working for you. That's what I'm here to do, because that's what you hired me for.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to focus on that. And I think that people will take too much and be like, well, but I need to take breaks. I need to do all this. And it's like, I get that. And I'm not saying that like, you can't ever take a break. Blah, 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 blah. That's all bad. I'm just saying that like as a challenge to yourself, like running a 100-mile race, just work your entire shift without taking a break. Just try it.
It's not even that bad.
No, once you do it, like you
Yeah.
find that it just becomes a habit. And then like
Yep.
at my last job, I would pull 10, 12, 16-hour shifts and I would just go. And then it's a habit. I take my food. If I'm hungry, I just eat it while I'm working and I just keep going. And
Yep.
I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
You just get good at it. You just get tough.
It makes the day go by so fast too.
Oh yeah.
You know what
Because
I
you're
mean?
just busy,
You're
and
just
it makes you
going.
like, and like the whole idea of like being a productive person is what you want to be anyway. Like my former boss would always ask somebody like, "Would you marry an unproductive person? What if your spouse was unproductive? Wouldn't that suck? Like if you came home and then like your spouse wasn't doing anything and you had to do everything, like that
That'd
would
be
be lame."
terrible. That'd
And
be
so like,
awful.
yes, like don't be that person.
Yeah.
Like don't get off work and be like, "I'm off work, time to go and chill." Like no, like train yourself to get off work and then continue to work.
Yep.
And then if you have a good relationship with your spouse, you'll find these times where you can have rest together or whatever, but you still got to go home and work. Like the work never stops. So just train yourself to always be working.
Just keep working. Easy peasy.
Dude, easy peasy. Eventually, right?
So what are we going to talk about in this episode?
Well, we're sort of talking about 20 to 30-year-olds, right?
20 to 30-year-olds.
So
They probably shouldn't go to college.
they probably not at this, unless like, is there some exceptions to that?
I would say, yeah, like if you're going to go to, like, in my opinion, if you're going to go to college, you should go to college for something that's actually going to make you money,
Mm,
that you have to go to college to in order to get the job that's going to make you the money. Okay. Does
sure.
that make sense?
Yeah, like
So,
so
like,
I'm gonna
don't
write
go
really
to,
good books. I should go to college, right?
yeah, don't go to college for something that you can learn on the internet for way cheaper or for a quarter of the price, right?
Sure,
At,
sure.
at 10 times the speed. Like, why would you
Right,
do that?
right.
You could go on the internet and learn a skill. If you could go on the internet and learn a skill and you could learn it in 6 months and then just start doing the skill, then you can become an expert at it versus going to college for 4 years and then have to spend time doing it to become an expert at it. Why would you do
Mhm,
that? It doesn't make any
mhm.
sense. Skills like being a doctor, that kind of stuff where you have
Sure.
to go, that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Accredited
Um,
accredited kind of fields
yeah,
like that.
the world needs doctors. Some people really want to be a doctor. Go be a doctor if that's what you want to do.
Sure.
You're going to have to go to college. You can't learn that skill on the internet.
Right, right.
Um, Anything else, it doesn't make any sense. Me and my wife were actually talking this morning about, because we took our daughter out of public school, put her in homeschool, and she's actually working part time. Maybe 30 hours a week,
Mhm.
and
Well, that's full time, Jared. Come on, 2023, dude.
yeah, yeah, really. So, but what's funny about that is we're looking at her and she's doing her school and she's getting it done for the most part, and we're like, why do people even go to high school anymore?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
like
wow.
high school for
Mm,
my daughter has turned into this crazy weird environment, right?
mm,
Where you got all the LBGTQEFG 9567, whatever
mhm,
that is, right?
mhm.
And you have people teaching weird stuff. You've got weird expectations. It's just
Right, sure.
it's a weird environment.
Mhm,
It's very, very strange. Very different from when me and you went to high school.
mhm.
And I look at it, I'm like, I why go there? Like
Yeah.
even the learning, like the stuff they learn, right? They're not
Mhm,
even learning half the stuff that we learn in school. They're
mhm.
learning about all this weird stuff and like you were saying before this
Yeah,
conversation, how to
yeah,
ask for to shake somebody's hand, right? Because you
yeah.
have to
To a
ask because
first
it's a
grader.
physical touch. Yeah, to a first
Yeah,
grader.
yeah.
Yep. Teaching them about sexual touch in a weird, random, awkward way, right?
Yeah, that's
Like
not
why
applicable,
yeah,
like,
why are
in
you doing
life.
that? How about you teach the
Yeah.
poor kid how to read,
Yeah,
right?
I know. Like, just teach them the stuff that we need to be able to survive,
Yeah.
not this
Teach him how to
odd,
read, teach
nuancy
him how to
stuff.
write, teach him how to do
Yeah,
math, and then
yeah,
teach him history so we don't do stupid stuff again, right?
yeah, yeah.
So in my
Teach
mind,
him. Yeah,
I'm like, okay. So I've been on this no college thing for a long time because it's never made sense. But now I'm like, for some kids, it might make sense to drop out, get your GED, and go to work.
sure.
Like, as bad as that sounds, you know, if I was in high school and I had to deal with all that, I'd be like, screw you. I'd go get my GED and I'd go start a business.
Yeah,
And I'd make more money than all of my friends sooner. I'd learn business sooner. And by the time I was 30, I'd be those kids would be just getting out of college, just starting their
right,
careers, just
right,
getting good at their careers. I'd already have millions of dollars in the
right,
bank, right?
right.
And all this stuff I needed to learn, all the math, all the communication skills, all the writing, all the I don't know what you learn in school, but I would learn those. I would learn those outside of school because you can. Like, okay, I'm not a very good fast reader. Or I don't know how to do this math problem. Let me go to YouTube. Let me go to Google, right? I mean, that's
Sure.
literally like I went to high school and I didn't learn squat because I didn't pay
Mhm,
attention. So
mhm.
for me for me personally, like if I could have just went and got a job, I would have been better off,
Yeah,
right? I think I
yeah,
passed with high school with like D's.
yeah,
I didn't learn out I have no idea how to do algebra. No idea how to
yeah.
do anything. But
That's a
I can guarantee you if I need to go do an algebra problem for my business, I'm gonna go figure it out.
heck yeah, you are. You're gonna go
I'll go to
take
YouTube.
whatever hours you need.
Yeah, I'll go figure it out. I mean, I have learned more after high school, going into business for myself, even just working in the trades than I ever did in high school.
Yep.
So why not
Yeah.
get that over with?
Yeah, high school, and especially because high school is sort of positioned as this prep for college. Like
Right.
when you get into high school, at least, back in the day, it was like I talked to a counselor and the counselor says, "This is what you need to go to college." And then eventually, junior year, you're like, "Where am I going to go? Oh my gosh." And you get all these you need these grades because
Yeah.
you have to get there. But as
Yeah,
college is
you
becoming.
gotta graduate high school so you can go to
Yep,
college. Yeah.
because you're not going to be able to get a job to make money unless you go to college, which I think is it's the big lie that you
Oh, yeah.
can't make money outside of having a certificate that says, "I went to a social function that cost a lot of money for a
Yep.
number of years." And
Yep.
maybe I learned some things, but I mean, I look at my friends who went to college and me and them are in the same spot.
I
Like
know.
my successful friends, I'm in the exact same spot they are. And
Yeah.
if I'm not where they are, I'm ahead of them. And I learned all I needed to know about myself, at least at the time when my friends were going to college. I learned that just working. Like we talk about this, where it's like the beauty about work is you're not surrounded by your echo chamber. You're surrounded by a multi generational, multi thought like people. Like I
Yep.
got to walk into work and deal with an old curmudgeon guy who can just say whatever he wants to me and doesn't get in trouble. In
Yep.
college, I can get this guy in trouble and I can, get him sent to the whatever. But in real life, they're like, "No, dude, just toughen up a little bit. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, deal with it. Like, figure it out. I don't
Exactly.
know. Why are you asking me? I'm just trying to work. Like, quit talking to me, weirdo. Like,
Mhm.
call your mom." It's
Yep.
but I learned so much more. And like I
Oh,
learned
yeah.
good skills, hard skills, like leadership skills and soft skills, like how to actually navigate social things that are weird. And yeah, I just again, as college becomes less attractive because it's more expensive and it's not delivering on the promise of you're going to make a bunch of money,
Mhm.
then there's got to be a better way when you leave high school, or if you don't even go, because what's the point? I mean, like, I don't, I mean, I'm in agreement with you that the
It's not
education is stupid.
to
It's
me, it's
like,
not a hard argument.
yeah,
It's an
like I
easy
was,
one.
I was talking to my nieces and they're all in high school and they're all talking
Uh-huh.
about high school stuff. They're like, "Oh, this boy and this boy, and we want to do this, and our parents don't let us do anything." Ducka, ducka. And like me and my wife are looking at them like, "It doesn't matter." And they're like, "It does matter." I'm like, "No, no, it doesn't. We're gonna miss out on the best years of our life." I'm like, "No, you're not. These are the stupidest years of your life. Like I'm telling you, like none of this matters. It is like 4 years of just nonsense. Like I'm not looking back like, man, who was the prom king and queen? Man, they were so cool. I wish I could just be them. Like, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, now it's not. Now it's like two dudes are prom queen and prom king.
Yeah, and it's
I
confusing. And
mean,
then
it's
like
weird.
you can't say things. You can't express yourself or whatever.
No, you can only, but it's pretty one sided.
Well, yeah, you can express yourself in the approved ways,
Yeah,
but you
there's
can't
no
like
room for like conservative Christian views, right?
yeah, there's no room and
Yeah.
there's no room for conversation either.
No. Yeah. My son was talking to me the other day. He was like, "Dad, you know what's really weird is like to be the like weird outcast, like the weird the one who's got like the crazy views, like you're just nuts." He's like, "All you just got to be a Christian. Like all you just
Yeah.
have to believe that
Yeah.
God created the earth." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Isn't that weird? Like
Yeah.
that's what it
And
is nowadays?"
and you have to believe that you can't be whatever you want no matter what that is. Like you can't change your gender, you can't do any of these things. Like you have to like hold on to like concrete ideas.
Yeah.
And then if you hold on to concrete ideas, then suddenly you're a bad person. And
Yeah.
like it's a very strange. It's a very strange thing.
Yes.
And for the
Yep.
most part, like people like you and me, like I'm not out here like, oh, I got a problem with all these people who think differently than me. I'm just like, I mean, I don't care, man. You think what you want.
Yeah.
But if we can't have a conversation about like if you're teaching my child something and I can't just have a reasonable conversation to how I don't think that you can teach my child this, and then suddenly you're like, well, you seem to be a racist to think that. I'm like,
Yep.
whoa, easy. Like I can have a differing opinion and I don't need to get a name called. Like, come on now. Like it just doesn't
Yep.
make sense.
Nope. Doesn't make sense at all. I will say, and I'm going to back up a little bit. There are some valuable skill sets that people learn in college. Very few.
Go
Just by
on.
going, just in the nature of going to college. Like my wife
Sure.
went to college to be a teacher, right? Which to
Mm,
get a teaching job, you have to go to college. It's probably one of the worst ones to go for because they don't make it. Actually, teachers do okay. Like after 10 years, they make like 90 grand and they don't have to work in the summers. It's not too terrible.
sure.
Worth 5 years, worth 4 years of college and then a year of making zero money. I don't think so.
Mm,
I'd probably choose something else unless you just love teaching.
mm-hmm.
Um, but so going to school for a teaching degree, she learned some skills that I don't have, or that would be nice for me to have, or that I had to
Mm,
learn and it was a little harder.
sure.
Um, so that they do teach you something, right? Some skills, like some
Sure.
writing skills, some basic organizational skills, those kinds of things.
Right. Sure.
Whereas, like, if you quit high school, you probably wouldn't get those.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
me
I
not
think.
paying attention in high school,
Mm,
I missed out on, like, I literally couldn't get a lesson from the teacher and then take that home, do my homework, and then be able to bring my homework back and turn it in. So, like, just the skill of that, of being able to take instruction, do the
sure.
instruction, organize it in a way to where the thing that I needed to do made it back to the teacher in time. I couldn't do that. And
Yeah.
so, like, even out of high school, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I'd say there's some value there, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I wouldn't go. If I had to do it all over again, I'd probably just drop out, knowing what I
Sure.
know now.
Yeah.
But hey,
That's
hindsight
always
20, right?
it's always the thing. We know a lot more now, and we're different people, and we have different ideas of what the future is to be.
Yep,
And so, it's hard to like break into the high schooler brain and to
totally.
like I was talking about my nieces, and to like convince them that like their pursuits right now are useless,
Yeah,
and they're just probably going to end in heartbreak and hurt.
yeah,
And they could avoid those if they just focused on this longer time frame,
yep,
which is hard to do. It's hard to convince a 16, 17, 18-year-old even that a longer time frame is where their focus should be.
yeah,
But you got to try. I mean, we're dads, so that's what we do our whole life, is trying to convince our kids to think a little bit further down the path.
yeah. This is the conversation that my dad was having when I
Mm.
when I was 16.
Yeah, my good friend, he always like growing up, he would always like butt heads with his dad because he was kind
Uh-huh.
of like, like kind of hippie guy, long hair, and his dad was like a Marine, and he's always like, Daniel, like just giving him shit all the time. Like, Daniel, cut your hair. You and your long haired hippie friends coming over to my house. And like, but it's funny because now his dad, he respects his dad so much because he
Uh-huh.
understands and he has conversations with him. And he's like,
Oh,
man, my
yeah.
dad was so right all the time. And
Yeah.
I was just an idiot. And I like, now I listen to him. I'm like, man, this guy knows a lot of stuff. And so,
I hope my kids are that way with me. That'd be cool.
yeah,
Like,
fingers crossed.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I mean, I think
Yeah.
about, like, me and, like, my relationship with my dad. Like, I remember when I started realizing, "Oh, my dad doesn't know everything." Like, he's
Sure.
not always right. It was this
Sure.
weird, like, point in my brain where, "Oh, my parents, they're kinda weird." Like, they they do some weird stuff, right? Like, why, and I'd be like, "Why are they doing that?" And now, like, now I'm constantly like that. Like, I hope they're not watching this. My parents are weird.
I'll let him know that this is the one. This is the one they
No,
need to watch.
like, yeah, don't, mom, dad, don't, you don't wanna watch this one.
Yeah, come on, it's gonna hurt your
Something you
feelings.
don't care about.
Jared, I watched.
No, but really, my parents are, like, super nice people, um, very friendly, like, too friendly in my opinion, like, weird friendly is part of what makes it so weird, but, like, they're just weird, and I didn't
Sure.
realize it, and the older I get and the more I form my opinions, the weirder my parents become, so if I could have
Yeah.
my kids be like, "Man, my dad's really smart," that I'd feel like I did something good.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
how do
the
you feel
goal.
about your parents? Do you see your parents and you're like, "Why do you think that way?" Like, "Why
Oh,
did you do
definitely.
that?" Yeah.
Definitely, and, like, especially in, like, the last 5 or 6 years, like, there's a lot
Uh-huh.
of things where I'm like, "Wow, this just doesn't make sense for my parents to do this," or, like, "Why are they
Right.
behaving in this way? This is, like, not I don't approve of this. This is just weird to me." And
Yeah.
then, like and I mean, like, I love my parents, like, what they did really well is they encouraged me to do whatever I wanted. So
Uh-huh.
I wanted to play drums, and my parents were like, "You can play drums in the house all you want." Which most parents would be like, "You can play drums never and anywhere on the block." And my parents were like it was so cool because they would, like, like, I was gonna go to music school, like, talk about college, talk about a waste of college, in my opinion. A 2-year music school for $40,000
Heck yeah.
that is gonna net me, I don't
0.
know, a certificate that I can go get a job at Starbucks with,
Yeah.
essentially, and, like, play gigs, like,
Dude, you could go be a sandwich artist.
I could be a sandwich artist.
That's what I was gonna be.
Yeah, sandwich artist. Yeah, and, like, I found that I learned all those music skills just playing drums at church. Like, I learned not
Mhm.
all like, I didn't learn all the theory and all, like, this, like, high level stuff, but I learned how to be a good drummer just because I
Yeah.
played with people a lot, and so it was sort of like going to a job instead, but, like, um, I always think about, like, to the conversation about parents and sort of, like, how my kids want is, like, my parents will do things, and I'm like, "Man, am I gonna do stuff like this? Like, am I gonna do stuff where my kids are like, 'Why is dad doing that? Dad's always
Dude,
doing that thing.'" And
probably. What's weird is my daughter already does it to me a little bit.
Oh, really?
She's already like, "Dad, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?" She's super
Yeah.
bossy and very, very opinionated
Yeah, yeah.
and very,
Mm,
like, I guess she's stubborn, bossy,
yep,
opinionated, stubborn. I love her to death for it. Like,
yeah.
it's the coolest thing to me. Like her personality, but then it can be so annoying at the same time. But
Yes.
yeah, she'll call me out. She'll be like, "Dad, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that?" Even though she might be thinking weird, but hey,
Mhm.
maybe I'm thinking weird. But it's already
Yep,
starting with her.
yep. Yeah, I wonder because I mean, like, she's young, and so it's like to me, it sounds like that she's like I mean, she's definitely found her personality, right?
Oh yeah,
It's probably gonna be a big personality she's gonna have for a long, long time that's gonna serve her very well.
oh yeah.
Um,
And she
but there's
thinks so critically about things.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when we were driving around town. There was a snow machine in the back of somebody's truck, and
Mhm,
she was in the back seat. Just learn how to talk, right?
mhm,
Like, she was not very old. She talked pretty well, and she saw the snow machine, and she saw that it had a windshield, and she
mhm.
goes, "What is that thing? Is that to block the wind when they're driving?" And I was like, "Dang, girl,
Like,
you're
yeah,
smart."
that's what it is.
Like,
Yeah,
she can think about that kinda stuff really, really well. So, like, for her to see me doing stuff, I know she's just picking apart, like, did my like, how's my dad spending his time? Is he using his time wisely right now? And that's like my biggest struggle is using my time
Yeah,
wisely
yeah. Don't
and
worry
taking
about what I
care.
do. I do what I want.
Yeah. Yeah, and she knows it. She'll pick me apart at it. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, that sounds like she sounds similar to my son Isaac in the sense where he's incredibly smart, but he's
Yeah.
incredibly like he's always he's in the stage of he's like 7 or something, somewhere around there. And he's like always in this, who knows, dude. I don't have no idea how old my kids are. It's always a guess. Like a segue story. Like, when the dads take their kids to the doctors, it's always the worst because they're like, when's the birthday? And the dad's like, like I don't know, 7 or 8 years before now, kinda, and they're like, "That's fine." Like, I've had, like, nurses, like, laugh at me like, "It's fine, like, we'll get it later," and I'm like, "Yeah, I gotta text my wife, she'll let me know."
Yep.
Tattoo it on my arm.
I
Um,
can tell you the month, but not the month and the day, but not the year.
yeah, the years I never know,
Yeah,
and,
that's a
like, for
tough
some
one.
reason, I'm too dim to be able to, like, count back. I'm like, I can't just, like, subtract the number from now and get there because 'cause I'm like, "Wait," but, like, it's confusing in my brain, so maybe college would have taught me that, how to do that higher level math.
Maybe how to remember the year your kids
Yeah.
were born.
Yeah. But my son, he's super smart and he's like has so many good redeeming qualities about him, but he is
Mhm.
also always challenging. And so he's always like asking me questions like, "Hey dad, could you do that physical feat?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Huh. Dad's weak." It's like, "Dude, like, yeah, I can't lift a car, bro. I can't lift a car. Like, can you lift a car?" And he's like, "Well, no, but that doesn't matter." And I'm like, "Dude, like, get out of here. Like, quit giving me like these scenarios that obviously, hey, like we watched like this guy breakdancing, and he's like, Dad, can I breakdance like that?" And I'm like, "Not now." And he's like, "Can you breakdance like that?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Huh." I'm like, "What do you mean, huh?" Like, like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, go away. Like, get out of here.
He
um,
does ask a lot of questions.
yes, but he
He's
has like
hilarious like that.
yeah, he asks tons of questions, very inquisitive, very smart. Like he's got a
Yeah.
math brain. I'm excited to see him like explore the potential. Now he has no emotional intelligence, absolutely zero.
Can't dude,
Which
he's gonna do awesome in college.
yeah. What? um but yeah, I hope that like I've been thinking about what you said cuz we were talking about mean dad, right? I'm always trying not to be the mean dad. Like, Jared, I don't
Oh,
want to be
yeah.
known as mean dad. And you're always like, dude,
Yep.
mean dad's fine, and like
Yep.
I keep thinking about that and having a conversation with one of my other friends where he's just like, yeah, like the dad needs to be respected, not liked. And like there's this idea, and I really like this. I don't remember who said it, probably some psychologist, but it's like the idea that like girls can naturally become women, but men need to be or boys need to be taught to become men. And so my job as a father is to teach my son what it means to be a man. And if that
Yeah.
means I am hard on him and to challenge him, because again, men also need challenges. When
Yep.
men aren't challenged, when my son isn't challenged, he is so annoying because he's just buzzing around the house, picking this up,
Right.
talking about this, playing on this. You're like, dude, you need to go like lift some rocks, go dig me a hole, and then fill the hole back up, and something, something. And so they need to be pushed, they need to be challenged. And sometimes that requires a more stern dad who is just pushing and driving.
I totally agree. Like, having a son and having a daughter and raising them both, I was so much harder on my son than on my daughter, because I wanted him to be a man. And, like,
Sure.
he didn't get it. He'd be like, "Well, why didn't you do that to her?" And I'd be like, "'Cause she's a girl and it's different." Right?
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause
it
it
is.
is. It's
It
totally
is.
different. I don't want
Yep.
my daughter to become a man. I want her to be a girl, right?
Yeah, she couldn't
And
if she wanted.
I wanna teach her what it looks like for a man to love on her, so that when she
Right,
goes and finds a good husband, she knows it, right?
right, right,
My son, I wanna teach him how to be a man so that he can go get a wife and he can be a good man for his wife.
right.
Um, totally different. Totally different
Yep,
mindset.
yep.
Yeah. It's w it's funny how easy it is to be hard on your son and easy on your daughter.
Yeah,
Like, probably to a default. Like, I always say this, my greatest superpower is always your biggest weakness, right?
sure.
Um, so I think, like, even in that, Like, it's easy to be too hard on your son sometimes, which I was probably guilty of,
Yep.
and then too lenient on your daughter as well. So it's
Mhm.
like, parenting is hard. It's not
Dude,
easy.
it is hard, and it's like it's always a dynamic thing. It's never like, "I figured out my daughter today." It's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
I'm a
you
good
figured her
parent
out
now.
for, like, today, and then tomorrow you're gonna be like, because 'cause you're gonna be a different person tomorrow, because 'cause you're gonna wake up sleepy and hangry, and then it's just
Your
gonna be these.
daughter's gonna be a different person tomorrow.
Yeah, because she's gonna wake up sleepy and
Yeah.
hangry, and
You're
you're gonna
gonna be
have to
like,
figure that
"What
out.
happened to you?"
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I know. Like, I think for
"Yesterday we
me.
did so good."
Yeah, I know. We were friends yesterday, and today we're just enemies again. I think for me, like my daughter, I'm harder. Nah, I'm hard on both my kids. Like I just demand a lot from them. Like I'm just
Mhm.
always asking them to do work because I guess that's just in my head. Like I look at the house, I'm like, there's tons of work to be done, kids. Like chip chop chip. Like in my mind, I'm like, I have things I need to do. My time is valuable. You need to apply yourself to the things of the house so that I can spend my time in better areas. If I don't have to do the dishes, I can focus on higher level things, which is beneficial for the family. So go do the stinking dishes. Go watch this baby. Go do this. And so I'm always asking my daughter to do all these tasks. And so she's always just like, Dad, I got to do all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know you do. And like, but I'm aware, like I want to give her time so she can go and like practice her art and all that kind of stuff too. But I'm definitely pretty hard on her with a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see what our kids say about us, when they make a podcast and they complain about
They'll be
us
like
and then
they'll be
hope we
like,
don't listen to it.
"My parents are so weird."
Yeah. My dad had this stupid podcast in the basement. It's just yelling in a microphone. It was weird.
That ugly block wall behind him
Yeah, with that stupid block wall, like, what was
with
he
weird
thinking?
lights.
Yeah. Hey, whoa, hey, don't make fun of my lights. It's our top shelf.
Oh, that's funny.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, to back it up, you're 20, 30-year-old person, you don't want to go to college, or you don't know what to do. What can you do to sort of establish a future for yourself?
Um, Dude, there's so many options. I mean, we could probably talk about this for a whole nother episode, but I mean, you can go to college, right? But I would just
Mhm,
go to college and make sure that you're going to college for something that you have to go to college for. Number one, like it's required you go to college to learn the skill, to get the degree, to get the job that's going to pay you well. That's
right.
the only time I would go to college. Um, if you can learn it on the internet in half the time for a quarter of the money, then go on the internet and learn it in half the time for a
Mhm,
quarter of the money and then get to work so you can start getting good at
mhm,
it. Because you don't learn a skill by going to college or by taking a course. You learn
right,
the skill by like that you learn the fundamentals and then you learn how to get started. And
right,
then you got to go
right,
put in a few thousand hours before you're good at it.
right.
So, if you can cut your time in half, guess what? You can get good at it way faster and you can go start making money at it way
Sure,
faster.
sure.
Um and then you can always go start a business right out of school, right?
Mhm,
Go start a business, small business. There's tons of opportunity there, like gutter cleaning, lawn care, pressure washing,
mhm,
mobile car wash, mobile dog wash.
mhm,
I mean, all
sure.
these low level skills that like you could learn in a matter of you could learn in a day, right?
Mhm,
You could go use those skills then to go start a business and start making money.
mhm.
Let's see what else is there. What's some other options for kids?
I mean, there's like I think maybe we could think about it like, okay, well, let's just think about the home and people in the homes because we can think about this now as we're trying to help. Like, okay, what's the
Right.
market that is going to pay these kids?
Right.
Like, when we say kids, we mean 20 to 30-year-olds, somewhere in there. Um, and like
Another good
even younger, I
option.
guess.
Another good option that I just thought of, like, and I've seen people do this. They went and worked at like Safeway or McDonald's or whatever, and they just worked there for 30 years and climbed the ladder. And they end up in a
Sure,
job being a manager of a Safeway, making, 150,000 a year, full
sure,
benefits. I mean, if you're happy with that, more power to you. So
sure.
that's an option.
Hmm. Yeah, there is always the option to just, yeah, go and get in one of those jobs. And, if you're aware enough, pick one that you can like culturally align with in certain ways. So it's
Yeah,
not like a crappy job culture. And you actually won't really know. Like, I didn't know that I was going to be working in the aircraft industry for 12 years.
right.
And I just sort of found myself there because it's the only thing I knew how to do and I was decent at it.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say
And
if you're gonna do that, you should probably pick a company that is on the larger side, right?
yeah, so you have upward mobility, so you
Yeah.
can get that $150,000 spot.
Yeah, so
Um,
there's no, like, limit. Like, you could even go
yeah,
past that, right? If you
yeah,
were
sure,
really
yeah,
good and you wanted to go
yep.
there.
Like
Like,
there's
you could move up to CEO or whatever,
yeah,
depending on the skills you learn.
there's no shame in like working in a big company and becoming, formidable in that company
Right.
and like
Yeah.
doing well. And you'll learn
All
skills and you'll have a consistent schedule. It could just be what you want. I guess it's like that's like a bigger question of like, well, what do you want? Cuz like let's talk about cuz when you talk about college, when you talk about college specifically, you're looking from the frame of profitability. You're saying, okay, I need to be able to make money. So it's like to
right.
me, listening to you, Jered, speak, it's like, okay, well, Jared's mind when he's going into college is like the money is the most important thing that I need to be making when I exit high school.
Yep.
I don't know if everybody is thinking that way. I think there's almost these ideas of like, well, I need to like figure out what I want to do, what makes me happy, and all these things. And I think those things might drive people towards weird stuff that isn't
Yeah.
making them money, and then they working at Starbucks forever or something like that.
I think when you're getting out of high school, going into college, you don't know what makes you happy. That's what I think. Like, I think you're too young to really know
Yeah, no, that's true.
what makes you happy.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out like where I want to be and what the ideal life for me looks
Yeah.
like. Like I couldn't
I
answer that
still don't know
question.
what makes me happy
Yeah.
to this
I mean,
day.
I know like things that bring me satisfaction, but
Mhm.
I'm not saying that like Jared, I'll be happy just working 16-hour days and feeling good about that for the rest of my life. Like that's
Right.
not this, but I also don't think that like, yeah, happiness to me is like me and my family like walking dogs all day or something
Mhm.
like that. Like I don't have like
Yeah.
a conception of it.
No. I mean, like, if you can take your passion and turn it into your career, that's super cool, but the chances of that happening are so slim. Like, I don't wanna be a Debbie Downer, but just the chances of you actually knowing what your passion is slim.
Right.
And then and what makes you happy, and the chances of that, like, always being your passion and always making you happy is really
Sure.
slim.
Sure.
So, like, I would just go where the opportunity is. Like,
Sure.
where's the my opportunity? Like, when I got out of high school, my wife was pregnant, we already had a kid. My opportunity was plumber.
Sure.
That's how I
Yeah.
became a plumber. I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I gotta go make money. I got bills to pay, so I'm gonna go be a plumber," right? And that was the opportunity. And then new opportunities opened, and I
Mhm.
walked through those doors when they open. I
Mhm.
think that's more of what people should be thinking. Hey, that's another
Yeah.
opportunity. They can always go get in the trades, right?
Yeah, sure, 100%.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's like you're gonna learn an incredibly valuable skill.
you're
And,
gonna
like,
get
here's the
paid to learn.
yep, all my friends up here in Alaska are involved in the trades one way or the other.
Yep.
I'm not.
Mhm.
And it's like I look at it, I'm like, "Man, I wish I could, like, fix stuff like all my friends," you know? Like,
Mhm.
because all of our friends are in, like, various areas of the trades, and so
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, yeah, Eric can, like, do this, and Jared can do that," and then you're the guy who's like, for me, "Well, I can lift things,
I'm really
so,
good at moving things.
I can try to work real fast." Like, it's like, so it's like, yeah, don't downplay the trades because like, that's a skill that you can take into your life practically, and then that you can also really help other people with who like your buddy's like, "Hey, man, like, can you help me with this? It's got this my boiler's got a problem." Like, I'd be calling you like, "Jared, what's going on?" You'd be like, "Dude, well, is there gas in it?" And I'd be like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, well, there you go. You're welcome." I'm like, "Damn."
Okay.
But
You're dumb. Get on autofill.
exactly, the trades will teach you that. But I mean,
Yeah,
like,
so go ahead.
all jokes aside, like trades are really useful beyond just the paycheck that they provide.
Yeah, and I think they're probably only gonna pay better in the future
Yeah.
because less and less people are getting in them. Like, all the young kids are trying to go be tech gurus or, I don't know, some internet job or what I don't even know what they're doing really. But I know they're not getting in the trades. So,
Yeah.
they're gonna like, you can go make good money in the trades. If you go work for a good service company, like,
Sure.
my guys make good money.
Mhm.
Can't go wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be like that's a whole conversation on its own, like
Yeah.
like a conversation about the trades, but then even like, okay, how can you spot a company that's good to work for?
Oh, yeah.
And like, what are the telltale signs that this company is actually going to be able to pay you well and has a future, right? Because the
Yep.
company might be able to be like, dude, we can pay you this much, but you can look at them and be like, yeah, but I don't really know how long you're going to be able to pay me that much, or if you can
Mhm.
actually get me there because of what I'm seeing here.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's tons of opportunity outside of college or even high school that I think most people are waking up to that fact of, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't need to go to college. I can go do these other things."
Hmm.
And I think it's good. It's cool.
Hmm. Yeah, it is cool. I think it just, I mean, because people like small businesses, right? Like everybody's always trying to honor, so go support your local small business and that kind of stuff. And so it's cool that we're sort of entering into this mindset where people are going to start to create more small businesses.
Uh-huh.
Because as you know, as the attractiveness of college sort of goes away, what else are you going to do? Like, well, I could just
Mhm.
create a local small business and become profitable. And I think the more we have good, profitable local small businesses, the better communities can be, because those are the places that are going to give work to people who don't have work. And those are going to be the opportunities for people to raise their economic statuses through well-run, profitable small businesses.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
This is where we need,
Let's
we need a guest so they can fill in.
Okay, let's call it a wrap. We need like a sign like when we're done. I'll be like,
I'll just think your hands are dirty. Like,
"Yeah,
Jared,
you'd be
why
like,
is
what are you doing?
Jared's got dirty hands all the time? What's
Can't
up
believe I
with
work for
that?
this guy.
Yeah, gosh, doesn't even wash
I'm
his
relying on
own.
him to make a paycheck."
Like, oh crap, I'm screwed. I better like pay attention to what we're
Uh,
talking about. Maybe implement some of these things.
all right,
Yeah,
good talk.
yeah, good talk.
See you on the next one.
Next one.
Hey guys, if you like that episode and you want to see more content like that, I picked out a special episode just for you. All you got to do is click right here. Go ahead and do it. Just click right there.